back to Darvanalee Designs Studio. For those that don't know, my name's Nicole Reed, and today we are here for Stitch With Me. So as you can see, I am working on Deck the Halls. I'm so close I can smell a finish. So I am on to the last little bit up here. I've got a few little colours and stuff to do on the trees, and I've still got the bell to do. So I've got the word stocking, hang, that bell, and I've started the stocking over here. But we are going to be working on the words today, and I'm using a kit that I got from Caterpillar Cross Stitch, and the colour that we'll be using is 309, DMC 309. Okay, which is a darkish sort of red. Alright, so I'll move this out of the way and we can get started. I've already got my needle loaded up. For those that are new here, welcome. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to join us today with our Stitch With Me. I'm just going to tuck in a little bit. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Glad to have you here for a Monday morning. Alrighty, so if you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon beside it. That way then you won't miss out on any of the future posts. And as I said, this is a Stitch With Me, and today we are going to be talking all things books, the books that I've read in the last week. So for those that are new, I am doing a challenge this year, which is 100 books in the calendar month of in the calendar year of 2021. So that is my challenge. The idea came from, just got to move the lights, just putting a little bit of glare, not enough light on the project. All right, so yeah, so I'm reading 100 books in a year for the calendar year of 2021, and I have just finished my 53rd book for the year. So I read 4 this week, so I actually stepped it up a little bit. One of them was a self-help book. One of them was a new to me author that I didn't know about, and one was a classic, and of course I read the next installment in the Virgin River series. Alright, so I got a lot of reading in this week. I didn't go in the truck at all this week. I spent most of my week at home quilting, sewing, binding, all that sort of stuff. So it gave me ample opportunity to read the books. And when I say read, I've actually been listening to them. Alright, so I'll just get my paperwork in order so I can see what I'm doing. And hopefully you can't see that on camera. No, you can't, which is good. I've got it set up right for a change. Woohoo! That's always a bonus, isn't it? Alrighty, so the next installment in the Virgin River series was Temptation Ridge. So basically in the last publication, or the last book, which was book 5, we were introduced to Shelby and her mum. Her mum suffered from, I think it's ALS, and subsequently passes away. So a bit of a spoiler there, sorry. But now the book is now following her journey after her mum has passed away, and so she decides that she wants to, after many years of caring for her mother and being the sole carer, she has decided that she wants to come and spend time with her family in Virgin River. Now, we met Shelby through Vanessa in book 5. Vanessa is her cousin. So book 5 was following the story of Vanessa and Paul. Is that right? Yeah, Paul. This story in book 6 is actually following the story of Shelby and a Black Hawk pilot called Luke. So, yeah, so it just basically picks up where after, like in book 5, the mother passed away. And so in book 6, they've picked up where Shelby has sold everything up and she's moved to Virgin River. Subsequently, she meets Luke. Luke is, as I said, a Black Hawk pilot. He's just brought, what did he buy? He bought some cabins and he's doing them up. And he was, as I said, he was a Black Hawk pilot, and he's just retired from the army after 20 years. So he's seen 4 wars. He's been shot out of the sky a couple of times. He's 38 years old, and he's a little bit jaded. And, you know, just from life experiences and stuff like that, make him a little bit overly cautious, let's say. And, yeah. So it follows their story. And so in typical Virgin River books, it just continues on, and you're just learning about, like, the other people that have been in the book so far are all in it, and, you know, it's, yeah, and it just basically has a crisis, and then, you know, this, that, and the other, and new characters are introduced and all the rest of it. So back in book 5, there was a little bit of a lovers triangle happening, like with the mother-in-law of Vanessa, was trying to set her up with a doctor. Well, he came into that book. He's also was mentioned in this book as well. So I'm guessing that the next book will be, will be about him, because he was starting to be a bit of a main character in book 6. So I'm looking forward to book 7. I've hit a snafu though. It's not available on Scribe, and that's where I've been reading most of these books. So the next one is called, I think it's Paradise Valley, is book 7, and it's not available on Scribe, which is frustrating, because it means that I'm going to have to use my credit. I'm just counting, sorry, and I'm not doing a very good job of it. Not much stitching's happening here right now. All right, I know where I'm at now. I'm just starting a new line of stitching, and I just want to make sure that I'm right. So I was just multitasking very badly then. So basically, yeah, it just follows their storyline, and, you know, the genre is, you know, small town, rural, women's fiction, a little bit of romance, a little bit of drama, not over the top, quick, easy reads, smash them out in a day, basically. Maybe a day and a half when I listen. And I'm listening to these all on audiobook, because, I mean, there's 19 in the series, and I am not going to go and buy 19 books. So, most of them I've been listening to on Scribe, but as I said, I've hit a snafu with 2 of them. Book 4 wasn't on Scribe, but it was sort of a standalone, because I was able to just pick up where the story left off in book 5 without even reading book 4. So, and there was a lot of reviews, and I think I mentioned that last week. There was a lot of reviews that said that as well. So I was pretty safe in my assumption to continue on without reading book 4. And because it hasn't been released in this country on audiobook yet. So, yeah, and I don't know where else to go to get it. So yeah. And I'm not going to pay $20 just for a single book. So I read that one at the beginning of the week. I did have a memoir. We touched on memoirs last week. It's not a genre that I normally read, but I read one last week, and finished one off that I started in the truck with Brendan. And I thought, yeah, no, I might get into these. I enjoyed it. Wasn't as, you know, fast-paced as I would have liked it. So the next one was a free one from Audible. I didn't end up reading that this week. I've saved that over, because I had been recommended a book by Brendan, and that was the next book that I read. It took a little bit longer to read than I expected it to. So this is a new to me author. Like, so most of the authors I've heard of, or I've seen their books floating around and all the rest of it. I'd actually not seen this author anywhere. It just hasn't been on my radar. This book was published in 2020. It is by V.E. Schwab, and that is spelled S-C-H-W-A-B. So Schwab. And it's science fiction fantasy. Okay, it's called The Invisible Life of Addie Larue. So basically it is as I said, it's a science fiction fantasy. It's basically got a bit of a love story. I would class it as young adult genre as well, because it was pretty easy to listen to and sort of just get caught up in that. Like, it wasn't overly complicated to follow along with. There was a little bit of jumping around with dates and stuff like that. But yeah, so The Invisible Life of Addie Larue, a life no one will remember and a story you will never forget is what the publisher notes had on it. I've read a lot of books and this was okay. It wasn't the best book that I've ever read. My husband really liked it. It was I could see why he liked it. It jumped around a bit, and I'm not a huge fan of books that jump backwards and forwards through time. Science fiction fantasy isn't usually my go-to book. I do read fantasy though, it's a hard one. So anyway, I found this book a little bit hard to keep track of. It jumped around a lot with dates and all that sort of stuff. So it was set in the in France in 1714. That's where the book sort of starts off with a young girl. Basically, it was questioning a lot of things in her life and stuff like that, and one of them was marrying someone that she didn't love or want to be with. And so in an act of desperation, she made a bargain with the devil. Essentially, she sold her soul to the devil for immortality, and like anything, when you strike a deal with the devil, there are consequences. So her consequence was a life no one will remember. And so basically she couldn't leave a mark, she couldn't say her name or anything like that. So anything that indicated that she was Addie Larue, she couldn't do anything about it. So basically it went backwards and forwards, and the devil would pop into it every now and again on their anniversary of when the deal went down, and subsequently you sort of knew where this book was going to go. And I don't want to give too much away. So, as I said, it jumps around with the dates and all the rest of it. 1 minute you're in New York 2014 or 13, then you're back at, 300 years ago and stuff like that. And subsequently, it does that throughout the book. The premise behind it is be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it and you might not be happy with what you get. And as I said, the book starts off in 1714. And the main character, Addie Larue, makes a pact with the devil. I'm just looking at my notes here. And she trades her soul for immortality. Then she sort of starts, after that happens and all the rest of it, she starts to sort of journey all over the world. And basically she's like a muse. And there's paintings of the girl with the 7 freckles and all this sort of stuff. And subsequently, the story plods along of her trying to find happiness and realizing that, every time someone turns away from her, they'll meet her and they can talk to her. But the moment they turn away from her, they forget her. So this is how the book goes all the way through. And then she finds herself in Manhattan, and she's in a bookstore, and all her life she's basically had to steal everything to eat and survive, to sleep and all that sort of stuff. And at any given time she can give it all up and give her soul up, but she has to make the choice. And I don't want to give too much away, so I'm not going to talk too much on it. It is a pretty good book to read. It was action packed, and it did sort of keep me on the edge of my seat a little bit with what was going to happen next. But I must say, I've just made a mistake, and I put too many in. It's sort of, I sort of got where it was going to go pretty quick. But a good book. I'd still recommend it to read. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads. I didn't leave a review or anything like that. I think everybody else pretty much summed it up. Okay, why is that? Oh, there we go. Just stuck there. I went a couple too many. So it was a good book. I read it. It took a couple of days to read it. I kept getting interrupted, which didn't help. I would have liked to have knocked it over in a couple of days. It took me 3 days. I listened to that. With work and all the rest of it, I had a lot of people turning up this week, and so I got it done. He's got a couple of other, I had a look at some of the other titles that he had there. There's one, there's a series there. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's a boy, a man or a woman, because it's just VE. So, yeah, I don't know whether I'm going to read any more of this author, but I enjoyed the book nonetheless. And there's a little knot in my thread. All right, I'll get with it. I'm recording this on Sunday afternoon, so you'll be seeing this Monday morning. So I'll be asking you how your Monday's going. All right, so yeah, so she ends up being all over the, like, you know, all over the world and all the rest of it. And as I said, she finds herself into this bookshop, and the guy remembers her. Like, it's the first time in 300 years that someone actually remembered her. And she was also able to say her name to him. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now. So if you want to read it, it is called The Invisible Life of Addie Larue. So it's not too bad. Some of you may have already read it. It came out in 2020. I think it was late 2020 it came out. So, I mean, if you're a fan of that author, you've probably already read it. So, yeah. But I'm going to leave it at that, because if I say any more, I'm actually going to spoil it for those that haven't read it. So I enjoyed it. I did really enjoy it. Okay, as I said, I gave it a four-star rating on Goodreads. Not sort of... Oh, I suppose it is something that I would read. I do read a lot of fantasy stuff, so yeah. I don't think it's that science fiction genre. I think more fantasy genre would suit it. And young adult. It was pretty easy to listen to, it would have been pretty easy to read had I had the hard copy here. Yeah, so that was a different sort of book for me as well. Yeah, I'd give it a read. I really would. Give it a read. I think you'll enjoy it. Alright, so this year has been seeing me dabble a little bit in the self-help genre as well. And this book was actually recommended, I think it was by... I can't remember her name. I was on YouTube. At the beginning of the year, I generally go looking for books and stuff, and I watch all the best books of 2020 or 2018, whatever, you know. And so basically, this one has actually been on my list to read for quite some time, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to read it this week. So it's the Atomic Habits book. So it is an easy and proven way to build good habits and break old ones. The author is James Clear. It's a self-help genre, and it was published in 2018. Look at me go, keeping notes, hey? Look at that. Just rolled off the tongue, those notes. So anyway, as I said, this week I decided to read another self-help book, because it's been a couple of weeks since I've read one that has been on my list. On my Goodreads, I've got all the non-fiction books that I want to read. So I think there's like 50 or 60 of them that have just been recommended by other YouTubers or recommended from friends and stuff like that. This one was one that I seen on Best Book I've Ever Read for 2000 and whatever it was. I think it was 2019 I've seen this one. So it's been on my list to read for quite some time. And I thought, well, now's as good a time as any. So basically why I wanted to read this book is because I'm not really good at goal setting. And this book is about formulating habits and good habits. So whether it be for, you know, work, parenting, weight loss, any habit that you need to form and stuff like that. I'm going to read this one again. This one didn't take me too long. I knocked this over in pretty much in a day. It's not a very long book, as most self-help books aren't. But I did read it. I did listen to it. And I'm looking forward to implementing some of the things that they talked about. You know, like, not everything resonated with me, but there was a few things that I could definitely add into my life and help me, you know, with productivity. And, you know, let's face it, a lot of us all have to, you know, lose weight. I'm one of those people, although I have lost, since January, I have already lost 10 kilos, so, which is very exciting. And I've done that all with just diet. So I changed my diet and all the rest of it, although I've slipped up a little bit in the last couple of months. But in saying that, this book should be able to help me get back on track, and that's what I'm hoping, that I will be able to get back on track. And let me see where I'm up to. I'm just counting where I'm up to. Oh, can't even get the whole. There we go. That's pretty sad, wasn't it? So basically, yeah, I thought this would be a good way to help me formulate some habits and stuff like that. And I have been, one habit that I've been trying to formulate is with my project bags. Okay, so I always run into the problem of my other work getting in the way of it. So what I've been trying to do in the last couple of weeks is trying to either cut or make a bag each day. And I'm just working on little, and this is what this sort of book is covering, you know, just work on small changes, habit stacking, things like that. It does refer to his website quite a bit. And as I said, I just listened to the book over the weekend. When did I start it? Friday afternoon, I think I started it, and I finished it Saturday morning. So basically, what I want to do is I want to implement some productivity goals and also some weight loss goals and stuff like that. And where I'm struggling, while I'm getting my food in check, and I've developed pretty good habits for that. Sorry about that. Like today, my husband asked me if I wanted Chinese for dinner, and I went, oh yeah, that'd be all right. And then I walked into the kitchen and walked back out and went, no, you know what? I've got plenty of food here that is a better choice for me. So I decided not to have Chinese. So I'm just going to make something here at home. So that's sort of what it's covering, you know, making those choices. And I'm sort of implementing another self-help book that I read in conjunction with this. So the other one was The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. She's all over YouTube and Instagram. And now this one. So it basically... it's got, like, it refers to his website a bit, and it's got cheat sheets and worksheets and all that sort of stuff to help you better understand each step of the goals, all the habits that are in there. He's not a fan of goal setting, which I found quite refreshing, because every book you read, set this goal, set this goal. And he's more about formulating habits than setting goals. It's still essentially the same thing. He just words it different. And because he's worded it different, it actually resonates with me, because I suck at goals. Like, I'll set a goal. And I mean, you only had to watch my Flosstube for a while. I'll make a plan, which essentially is a goal. And then half the time I don't hit it. And so then I find myself, you know, disappointed that I didn't make it to that goal, that I could have done better, and all this sort of stuff. And all this negative stuff starts playing around in your head. And it's just like, I get what he's saying about it, that it can be quite deterring and all that. So just listening to him, I thought, you know what, this is good. This is a good way of trying to take away that negative connotation that I have, me personally, with goals. So I'll be able to I guess achieve more is what I'm trying to do. And so I think this book is going to really help me with that. So as I said, I'm going to have to go and I'm going to read it again, and I'm going to go to his website, and obviously I'm going to go down a rabbit hole there, but hopefully the cheat sheets will help me out a little bit, and I'll be able to get some more productivity happening, set some really good achievable habits. And as I said, the whole making of project bags and stuff like that, getting, whether it be I cut one or make one, obviously if I cut one, then the next day I'm going to make it, and basically just keep building, and that is going to help me build my stock. And that's where I'm really struggling at the moment. And then the other aspect is where I'm really struggling is with my with getting out and exercising. So while I was listening to this book, I just got up, put my joggers on, and went for a walk for half an hour, and just a quick walk around the block, and that was that. And so I think if I can implement some of these different habits and start stacking on them, and essentially I will get to where I need to go and where I need to be. And so that's sort of why I want to reread it again and go and check out some of the cheat sheets he has and all that sort of stuff. I believe he's got like habit trackers and all that sort of stuff over there. He talks about like not getting too hung up on things, using habit stacking and stuff. So, you know, like a reward system. So if you say, for instance, you normally wake up in the morning and then you pick up your phone. Well, you change it. You wake up in the morning, you get out of bed, go make your coffee, then pick up your phone, and just like, yeah, and things like that. So as I said, it's the first time that I've read it. It's the first time that I've sort of looked at it this way. Normally it's very goal setting and stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy to go a little bit further into it, and I'm pretty happy to go down the rabbit hole on his website. Just need to mark off so I don't get lost. And it's really hard when you're on camera and you're trying not to show the chart, but you need to look at it still. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it went. I just think it's going to help me to formulate better habits and not procrastinate as much, because, like, let's face it, we can all procrastinate, and I can procrastinate with the best of them. And I do work well under pressure, but I don't want to do that anymore. I've sort of got to a point where I don't want to be working under pressure anymore. I just want to make life a little bit easier, make my sewing life a little bit easier, which I think will end up giving me, I can feel that it'll give me less stress. I feel that it can help me be more productive. I feel that it will help me get to the next level, and all that sort of stuff. And it will take away a lot of stress. Like, yes, I do work well under pressure, but I just don't want to work well under pressure anymore. I just want to cruise through, do what I need to do, and get on with the business of stitching or making videos and stuff like that. And I have found in the last couple of months that I have been procrastinating more and more. This was probably the first week in a lot since Mia's left that I've spent the whole week at home alone, and got things done. But I still procrastinated. I still found ways to try and not do it and stuff like that. And I think there is still a little bit of that residue left over. And of course there's going to be, and it doesn't matter how much I sit there here and say that, you know, everything's good and all the rest of it. There's still some residue from that. There's still some feelings that haven't been dealt with, you know, on my part. I can't speak for anybody else, but, I'm okay to push them under the carpet for now. They're not causing any major problems. They're not massive issues or anything like that. Just, you know, every now and again, a little bit of sadness. But essentially, I am grieving the fact that she's no longer here with us, that she's now living with her mum. But then at the same time, when I have those feelings, I start to procrastinate. I start not to, and so that's where it's becoming detrimental to things. For the most part, I push through. I just go, you know, get over yourself and pick yourself up. And yeah, I'm pretty harsh on myself, in case you didn't notice. I give myself a stern talking to from time to time, and every now and again I do need that. So yeah. So I think that this book is going to help me because of the way that he's phrased it. Like, it's still goal setting. It's just habits instead. And I'm better with formulating habits. Like, I can implement a habit pretty easily, and positive ones. So I don't tend to gravitate towards the negative ones. The last real negative one that I had, like, that was detrimental to my health, was smoking, and I quit 20 years ago now, 21 years ago, 20. I think it was 31 when I gave up, so I just turned 51. So I'm pretty good at implementing habits and healthy ones and changing things. And I know that I can stick to it for a long period of time, because in my 40s I was exercising really well. This was before Mia came, and I got up every morning and I went for a walk every morning. And for almost 3 years, when my husband was home, because he was working two weeks on, 2 weeks off. When he was home, I would ask him every morning, are you coming walking with me? And I did that for 3 years. And then one morning he went, yeah, all right. And he came for a walk. So, and I for almost 5 years, I was riding the push bikes with the girls. I was walking them to school, and I was eating healthy, well, reasonably healthy. I wouldn't say I'm perfect, not by a long shot. I was making better choices and all that sort of stuff. So basically that's sort of where I want to get back to. And that's where this book's going to come into play. So, I've got the school holidays coming up. I've got Mia here for the first 4 days of the school holidays. So I'll pick her up, next Sunday, and then I'll take her back on Thursday. So we've only got her for 4 days. For a bit of a visit, because I've got heaps of stuff on that I've got to get sorted and stuff like that. So if she's here, I want to spend time with her. I don't want to have to say, you know what, I've got to go to work. She'll probably spend a day in the truck with Poppy. She'll spend a day in the studio with me, and then we'll go and do something as a family together. Better count before I miscount again. So basically that's, I think this book is really, really going to help me with that. And I'm pretty keen, because it did resonate with me. As I said, it really resonated and made me go, you know what, I think I can do this. I think I can implement these changes. And that's all it is. It's just changes, really. So the publisher's notes go on to tell you about, if you're having trouble changing your habits, the problem isn't you, the problem is your system. So it shows you different systems that you can use. In the book, you'll learn how to make time for new habits, even when your life is crazy. Overcome the lack of motivation and willpower. Design your environment to make success easier. Get back on track whenever you fall off course, and there's a lot more that it covers. So that was just some of the notes that they had there. So if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. I think if you have trouble with goals and all that sort of stuff, I would highly recommend that you read this book or listen to it on Audible. I'm just doing some more counting because I've stitched and I'm going to lose my spot. I always do on lettering. Does anybody else have that problem? You're going along fine, and then you start doing lettering, and then all of a sudden you're all over the shop and you can't work out where the heck you're going and whatnot. So far so good. I think that was the only mistake that I made. But anyway, I know that my whole chart is one off, but I don't know where the mistake is. And I think the mistake was right back when I started. But it's only one up. So you can't, you wouldn't have known if I hadn't told you. But yeah, it's only one up. And so I don't know where I've miscounted. And overall, one line up, it's not going to make a difference. It's only like one tiny little square. So it's fine. It all fits in. And I think the only place I had to make an adjustment was here. No. Yes, here, where the stocking is. That was the only place I had to make an adjustment. All right, so that was the Atomic Habits. The next one, which I'm in two minds about. Okay, so we all know about the classics. We all know about Jane Austen, bloody all of them, Charles Dickens, all those sort of people. So we know all about those, all the classics, and all the books that we're told that we should read, but some of us don't read, or we've read in school and we didn't really float our boat back then, and all the rest of it, or you've tried to read it and then you've just put it down and you've never got back to it. Well, I fall into all of those categories. And, over the years, I've heard people say, oh, you should read this, you should read that, da-da-da-da-da. So here I am this week reading some classics, and I started with Sense and Sensibility. And the reason that I started with Sense and Sensibility, I will cover that in a little bit, about Audible and how I ended up changing my trajectory on the books that I was going to read this week. All right, so basically, for those that don't know, Sense and Sensibility is from Jane Austen, and if you don't know, where have you been? Because everybody knows that. It's in the genre of classics, and it was first published in 1811. So we're talking old literature here, classic literature. So, as I said, I decided that I was going to, back at the beginning of the year, I actually decided that I wanted to read the classics, all the books that have been recommended to me over the years and sort of all that sort of stuff. So, I've made a list of some of them, and obviously there'll be more added to that list, and I've just got it as must-reads on my Goodreads. So, the first one that I read was Sense and Sensibility, and I'm glad I listened to it and that I didn't pick the book up. Because Savannah and I have had debates about, like, talks about this, like, the best one, To Kill a Mockingbird. I didn't like that book. I read that book. I didn't like it. She doesn't like it either. But everybody goes on about how you should read it and all that sort of stuff. I honestly don't get I get the premise behind the book and all the rest of it. I don't get the hype of the book. So this is another one of those books that everybody says you should read. It's a classic, yada, yada, yada. Okay, I'll give you that it's a classic. I'll give you that it's written well. I give you that it has a good storyline. I give you all the positives that people say about it. I'm glad I just listened to it and I didn't pick it up, and I didn't I've tried to read it about 30 years ago, and I started it and I never finished it. So I sort of know why, now that I'm older, I know why that wasn't the right time for me to read it, because I just wasn't there. But I've listened to it this weekend. It was good. I wouldn't say I'd read it again. But I'm glad I've listened to it now. And I'm glad I didn't pick up the physical book to read it. I'm glad that I was able to do other things while I was listening. So I did housework and stuff like that while I was listening to this. And I did some prep work for the week and stuff like that while listening to it. I did some stitching while listening to it. So I'm glad that I didn't take the time out and just sit there and read the book. I'm glad that I listened to it. And after that experience over this weekend, I'm going to do that with all of them, because I just don't think that I am into it, but I would like to at least read them because I might be mildly surprised. As this was Jane Austen's first book, I'm hoping that her other books get better. So we have Emma, is it Pride and Prejudice? Anyway, I can't think of all the names of her books anyway. I know them. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. So as I said, I'm glad that I listened to it because it didn't take me away from other things that I could do. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's why I read it. The book, for those that haven't read it, it basically follows the story of two sisters, the Dashwood sisters, in 18th century England, and it just goes... it sort of just shows you they're 17 and 19. Their names are Marion and Eleanor. And it just shows you that, while they're sisters and all the rest of it, and they have opposing ideas about what love and life is and all that sort of stuff, at the core of it, they have each other's backs throughout all this. They're there for one another, and that's what I took away from it. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but it is a matter of opinion and how you interpret things. So I liked how it followed their story and all that sort of stuff. But it just shows one thing, and I'm sorry to the men that are probably listening to this, which is highly unlikely, but I do have, I think, 1% of my subscribers are men, so I do apologise for this next statement, but it just shows you that how mean boys can be in some cases, and at the heart of it, they're always going to be, they're still players now like they were back then. I mean, that's a very, skew-if take on it, but yeah, it was just like, their hearts were broken, and yeah, anyway. They find happiness in the end, and that's all that matters, I guess. But and it just shows you, like, I find these books really interesting, like, especially after reading the Bridgerton series, which is a great series. If you haven't read it, that was a great series. I love that series. I found myself giggling at the characters and stuff like that. The same as the Virgin River series as well. I'm finding that I'm very invested in the characters, and they're light-hearted readers, and they give you a little bit of a giggle and a chuckle and all the rest of it. But in saying that, like this one, it just shows you that back then it was all about money and status and stature, where you were and how you landed on your feet and all that sort of stuff. It did play a lot. And given that when the book was written, she was writing about her, you could tell that she was writing from what she was witnessing and stuff like that in this particular book. I mean, it was 1811. It's set in the 18th century. So, yeah. So I'm just glad that I listened to it and I didn't waste my time reading it. If I was retired, maybe I could sit down and read it, but anyway. Yeah. It was very money orientated. And the other takeaway from it as well, like I think there was only one mention of one of them, I can't remember which character that was the mother wanted him to go into politics to obviously earn money and all the rest of it. But it was very money orientated, status orientated. But the one thing I noticed, none of them worked. So it was all about inheritance and what they were getting from their parents and stuff like that. So that was quite intriguing to me. So is that how it all worked back then? Like there was no new money, it was all old money. So what we would call old money, because it was everybody inherited. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, that was I was quite surprised at that, because I don't think I've actually really read a book where they've actually made that like a sort of focus on the storyline. Like it wasn't a major focus, but it was constant. It was there. Like it was always an underlying fact of, this person was marrying this person because they had done this, or they didn't get this, or they only had this amount, and so forth and so on. So, I was quite intrigued by that whole thing of there was no new money. I know that's a weird thing to take from a book, but yeah, I found that really, really weird. I'm sure that there was new money around then, because, surely there's someone worked somewhere along the line and made a good fortune, and I understand that the children were inheriting and stuff like that. And a lot of the books that I've read in the past, it was all about, you married into money and stuff like that. And yeah, so like I sort of got all like, you get that from, I'm trying to put it into words, but you can pick that up in a lot of other books that you read around that era as well, that was very much the sign of the times, that you married for money, that gave you your status and all that sort of stuff. So I get all that. But this is the first time I've read a book where it's been almost a highlight of the book, even though the main characters are talking about love and life and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, but all I can say is I'm glad that I listened to it and that I didn't read it. Oh, dear me. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to reading a few more, because I mean, I might be mildly surprised at some stage that I'll listen to a book. I'm only going to listen to the classics. I'm not going to buy any of them. Although I do have a whole collection of children's classics inside, so I might start reading. I haven't read all them, but there's a lot that I have, like Black Beauty, Anne Green Gables, all those sort of ones. I might be able to find them on Scribe and listen to them as well. I'd like to revisit some of them as well. And that'll also be ones that I can even listen to with Mia as well when we go for drives and stuff like that. She likes a good audio book. She's been in the truck with Poppy many a times and got right into some books, and he always tries to choose something that's a little bit more appropriate for her and stuff like that, things like Harry Potter and all those sort of ones. But yeah, when I was driving backwards and forwards from Brisbane when we were doing the visitations, it was quite funny. Like, I didn't even register that she would be listening intently to the books that I was listening to. At the time, I was in the process of transitioning from animal-based diet to a plant-based diet and whole food and all the rest of it. So subsequently, I was listening to on my drives to utilize some of my time for education. I was listening to things like the China Study, Eat to Live, Starch Solution, and these are all based around these authors and doctors are all whole food plant-based doctors, and they live the lifestyle as well. And so I was immersing myself because I was making a change and all the rest of it. And this goes back to the atomic habits thing. I was making a change in my life and I needed to develop habits, so I was listening to a lot and reading a lot of those books, and basically that was helping me to make those changes easily. So that's what I was doing. And then I was listening to the Eat to Live book, I think it was, and she started talking back to me about, like, in the back, she goes, I eat all my vegetables and I eat healthy, and which she does because she doesn't do well on junk food or anything like that, like most kids don't. I don't know about now, but when she's here, she eats really healthy. And so it was quite interesting she was listening and taking all of that in, and it just makes me super happy that she was taking in. She just wasn't zoning off, and she was obviously thinking about it too, what she was listening to, because she started a conversation about it. So that was very exciting as well. So I think that's a really good foundation for her to understand that you don't necessarily have to always read the book, but you can listen to it as well. She has a bookshelf full of books, so both here and at home. So, I mean, she's never going to lack for books. And she's got Auntie Nana who, like, we're just waiting for a massive thud in the middle of the night. She's got that many books on this bookshelf that is not actually supposed to be a bookshelf. It's actually for plants. And it's made out of, like, it looks like wrought iron, but it's not. It's just a cheap thing that we've got from, I don't even know where we got it from. I think I bought it from Addie, maybe. And she's got all their books on it, and I'm just waiting for the crash in the middle of the night one night, because there's so many books on it. I'll have to take a picture one day. I have to wait till summer when the sun's in the right spot, because she doesn't get a lot of sunlight in her room, and it's quite a dark room. Got there 4, 5. So so I'm gonna, as I said, I was, I'm going to get more into the classics and all the rest of it. I lost my train of thought there. Anyway, I was just thinking about all the books on the bookshelf. There's a lot there. There's a few on there that I have to write down too, because I'm going to read them as well. All right, needed that drink. All right. So, what else happened this week? Oh, there was a new thing that happened in my Audible. I noticed this week, part of my, and it's only new because it's up on their home screen on the app. Part of their membership is Audible Plus, and that has it's part of your membership, so you don't have to pay extra for anything that's on there, so you can just listen to it. And that's how I ended up getting onto the classics, because Sense and Sensibility was on there and it didn't cost me anything, so which was another good thing. It was part of my membership. So maybe the apps like Scribe and all those, or you can read audiobooks and or you can listen to books and stuff like that, which are other platforms to have audiobooks. Although I wouldn't recommend or you could read books, because there's nothing new on there. And they're dearer than Audible. So, so that came up this week, and that's how I got Sense and Sensibility. And then I've queued up one that is called The Orchard, and I've just got the summary here. At the edge of an old orchard, on the grounds of an exclusive private girls' school, a teenage boy is found dead. Was it murder, suicide, or something else? Disaffected police detective and struggling single parent Adam Durwood is assigned to investigate, but the closer he looks, the more facts don't add up. At the center of the mystery are 3 beguiling and manipulative teenagers who seem to know much more than they should and are slowly drawing Adam into the web that he can't see. It's blending crime drama and supernatural mystery. The Orchard is a groundbreaking audible original series immersing audience in a haunting tale of memory, myth, and unnatural forces. It's written by Mike Jones and Mike Cowop. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. And it's performed by Eric Banner, Gary Sweet, Magna Zobansky, Olivia, Debble, Lisa Marie Shaw, and Ashley Rose Nicholson. So there's 13 chapters to it. The chapters go anywhere from 16 to 20, 21 minutes. So yeah, I've got that queued up. It's part of it. It hasn't cost me anything. Yeah, so I'm going to, and it's in my library, so I'm going to listen to that this week. I'm going to listen to the second book of Jane Austen's, which is, I don't know, Pride and Prejudice? I think it is. I don't know. Anyway, I'm listening to her books, and I'm listening them in publishing date. So, yeah, so I'm pretty excited. There was a whole heap of other stuff on that Audible Plus as well. So it looks like that I'll be able to get some of these classics on there and some of these other ones as well. Now, I haven't listened to it. I didn't even listen to a sample. It just has Eric Banner, and I mean, I could listen to Eric Banner talk all day. So I'm quite interested, and the reviews and it only just got released in the last week, and on the 7th, I think it was, of September, and the reviews have been pretty phenomenal so far. Like, everybody's been saying that couldn't stop listening to it. A really good story, really positive. I don't even think there's a single negative review up there about it. So I'll give that a listen. I'll tell Brennan about it as well, because he's got Audible as well. So he's going to have a bit of a look. I haven't had a real close inspection of what it is, like what other books are on there or anything like that. So I'm going to get on instead of being in the app, I'm going to actually get on the website and log in and see what's there on that. Because you can do both. For those that only think it's on, you can actually go into your Audible account on your laptop and you can see everything there. And sometimes I find that easier to do than being on my mobile app. But yeah, so that is all the books that I've read this week. As I said, I'm going to continue on with the Virgin River series. I've just got to find the books in the apps that I've got, but I can't find it. I think it's not available. It's not available in our country on Scribe, but I think I found it before on Audible. When I went looking the other day, it said it wasn't going to be released until October. I found the listing for it, but I haven't checked any further. I just found it just before I got on and started filming. So, yeah, I'm hoping that... I was hoping to have it through Scribe, but it doesn't look like that I'm going to get any joy from that, which is a bit of a bummer. But it is what it is, I guess. All right, I'm just going to finish that off there before I end up unthreading it and dropping the needle and all the rest of it. I'm going to rethread my needle. But that's all as I said, that's all the books that I've read this week. And I've got lots of plans for stitching and all that sort of stuff. And this will be up first thing in the morning for you guys. As I said, I'm actually recording at night. That's why it's a little bit darker as well. I've got all my lights going on and not all together there. I'm probably better off recording it in the morning, so I might try and do it on a Sunday morning. It's a little bit brighter in here as well. It's not as hard for me to I don't have to have it lit up like a flood, lights everywhere. But this week I've got another busy week ahead of me. Can't even thread my needle. I've got I want to get another 3 or 4 books read this week as well. And I've got a couple of quilts that I've got to get done. I've got a heap of project bags that I actually cut a few extra project bags, so I want to get them made this week, so they'll be getting listed up on our Facebook page and then subsequently onto our website. I've also got to do some dyeing as well, fabric, get ready for that, and getting ready for Mia to come and visit next week for the first week of the school holidays. So she'll be here till Thursday, so I will probably pre-record most of my stuff on the weekend before she gets here, and that way it'll be just uploaded and I can just spend time with her. I won't be doing tutorials during that time. So, right, where am I at? Yep, that's it. Just making sure I'm in the right spot. Yep. Yep. Hang on. Let me just check. I think I just buggered that up. Too much talking and not enough counting. Oh no, I'm in the right spot. That's okay. I just, can't read the chart, obviously. All right, well, I am going to call it a day. So as you can see, my plan for this, if you didn't watch my Flosstube on Friday, why not? Go back and watch that. As you can see, I'm into the last part of it. So this will have stocking going across here. So I shouldn't have to move it. I'm keeping this set up, and I'm just trying to do half an hour each day. So I'm hoping to have this finished by the end of the month. I'd like to ideally have it finished by Friday. So I'm hoping that I can get some more stitches into it over the next few days before I fill my Flosstube. So that'd be really good, because like realistically there's not a lot of stitching to go. So these are all further down. I think the gingerbread, it's two-tone as well, so you can't really make it out on the picture really clearly because they're very similar in color, but this is two-tone, as was the mistletoe and the gingerbread. So I'm going to do the bottom part of it, and then I'll go back and do the top bit of it. And then these little things don't take very long to do. Most of all the snowflakes I've done. So I've done all the snowflakes that is underneath the stocking, above the dress. Like anything that I could count off, I've done all those snowflakes. So I only got a few of those, and the rest of them, like the candy cane doesn't take long. I've already started on the stocking. The bell doesn't take long as well. So I should be able to get it sorted by the end of the week. It's so close, I can smell it. So I could always bump something, because I was planning on getting some other stuff finished as well. So I could always bump that and go for the finish on this instead. And then it's gone. It's out of the way, and you never have to lay eyes on it again until it's fully finished. Does that sound like a plan? I think that sounds like a plan. All right, guys, I'm going to make a move, and I'm going to actually go and have some dinner because it's getting late. And hopefully you've had a really good weekend, and your Monday is shaping up to be a great day as well. I know my Monday is going to be super busy because I've got a to-do list. It's long. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for taking some time out to join me today and listen to me prattle on about the books that I've read. Hopefully I've inspired you to go and pick up a book and do some reading. Have a great day, everybody. Don't forget to like this video, leave us a comment down below, and subscribe if you're new here, and hit that little bell icon so you don't miss out on any future posts. And I will see you all again next week for another great stitch with me. Bye for now.